What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Stretch and Grow. My name is Louie, massage practitioner and certified personal trainer. And in this video, what I want to talk about is you are not your anxiety. Now, what does that mean? Honestly, if I say you are not your anxiety, but you're suffering with anxiety, what does that mean? Well, a lot of us have kind of identified with our anxiety. We tend to think that we are just naturally anxious people. We tend to think that because we have anxiety, there's something wrong with us, especially if you're watching the news, if you're paying attention to social media, which, by the way, if you're even talking about anxiety, if you're looking things up about anxiety, know that social media is tracking that. Know that they're going to continue to show you things that are going to make you anxious. They're going to show you solutions. They're going to make you think you need certain types of medication. They're going to make you think that you need to do certain types of therapy when, in fact, all you have is some anxiety. Now, when I say you are not your anxiety, what does that mean? That means that you don't have to identify with it. Yes, you have anxiety. Yes, anxiety is part of your life. Yes, you don't want anxiety and you're trying to find a solution, an easy solution to relieve it. But today, what I want to talk to you about is how to actually release anxiety. And it's something that's never, and I mean never talked about. Because what I'm about to tell you, honestly, there's no money involved. It's something you could do on your own. It's something that you could actually take responsibility for. So how do you release anxiety? And I'm using a key word here. The word is release anxiety, not relieve it, not give you a pill or a treatment that's just going to relieve the symptoms. What I'm talking about is actually getting to the root, which is your anxiety, which is the feeling, which is what you're experiencing. So how do you release anxiety? Well, first things first. First, know that release happens in the body. This is what this channel is all about, stretch and grow, right? I focus a lot on helping people release stress, pain, and anxiety. And I like to say in less time than the coffee break, because we all know what we have to do in order to make ourselves feel better, but most of us feel like we have no time. But today I'm going to show you a quick 4 simple step process on how to actually release your anxiety. First things first, where is anxiety? It's in the body. Know that you can't do no psychological trick to get rid of anxiety. First of all, you can't get rid of anxiety. So any program or any treatment that promises that you're going to get rid of anxiety is going to get rid of anxiety, that's just not possible. Anxiety, believe it or not, first thing first, anxiety serves a purpose. Anxiety is meant to protect you. It's meant to keep you safe. Did you know that? A lot of you guys who are suffering with it, you think it's a bad thing. No. Know that it's on alert. It's keeping you safe. However, we've triggered it so much to where now it's become a part of our daily lives. Like literally, you have to look at your anxiety as your best friend. It's really trying to protect you. It doesn't feel like it. Like I want you to look at anxiety as that annoying best friend that tries to tell you to not get into that relationship. Because that person, that friend knows that you getting into that relationship or doing that bad habit is not good for you. And you kind of get annoyed with that person because that person's always trying to, they think they know what's best for you, but you know deep down inside that you shouldn't be doing these things. So that's first step. Know that anxiety is actually your friend. Know that it's just trying to protect you. The only problem is that you've been ignoring it. So what we're going to do now is talk about the 4-step process to actually releasing anxiety. Step number 1. How do you know you're suffering with anxiety? How do you know you have anxiety? Have you ever thought about this? Like, how do you become aware? So the first step is becoming aware. But how do you know that you're having anxiety? More than likely, if you pay attention, you're going to realize right away it's a feeling you're experiencing in the body. You might feel a certain sensation in your neck. You might feel a certain sensation in your chest. You might feel a certain sensation in your stomach, in your groin, wherever it is. You might feel it in your hands. So that's the first step, is becoming aware of when you're anxious. Now, when you become aware of it, notice that it's happening in the body. Yes, you're having thoughts about it, but know that the feeling comes first. You're starting to feel a sensation, and then you start to have thoughts about it. So a lot of us think that when we have anxiety, it's because of our thoughts. It's not usually that. That's not usually the case. It's usually something triggered the feeling, which happens in the body. And we don't really become aware of it. What we become aware of it is the feeling for a second, and then we start having crazy thoughts. We think we're having a heart attack, a panic attack, all these crazy things. We're starting to think, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, our thoughts are racing, and we really start to focus on the thoughts. What I want you to do is, next time you become anxious, you might actually be anxious right now with listening to me just talk about it. Next time you become anxious, notice where in the body it's happening. Now, for me in particular, it happens in the throat. So step one is become aware. So when you start to get anxious, be like, okay, how do I know that I'm anxious? Oh, I feel something. Where do I feel it? For me, like I said, it's in the throat. For other people, it might be a little bit different. So step one, again, become aware of it. Step two is the magic. Ready? Are you ready for it? I'm not sure if you're ready for it. This is the hardest part. Step two. Once you become aware of it, you allow it to be there. You let it be. What? What do you mean? Know that whatever you resist persists. So a lot of us, when we start to get anxious, we try to do something about it. Either we try to run away from it, we try to distract ourselves, we try to put on like a YouTube video, we try to put on music, we try to do something to get ourselves to feel better. But the only problem is when you feel better in that moment, you could distract yourself. Know that the anxiety is being resisted, you're shoving it back down. So step two, the true way to actually release anxiety is to allow it to be there. And I'm going to tell you this with empathy. It's going to suck. When you sit there with it, like for me, when I started to notice this happening to me and I learned these techniques, it sucked. It was really painful. So it's you're going to have to go through it. So you allow it to be there. Now for me, it's in my throat. I feel it. I know I'm anxious because I feel this tight feeling in my throat. I allow it to be there, which hurts. But the thing is that you got to do now is you got to start to relax into it. Now, when I say you relax, that doesn't mean the anxiety is going to relax. It might actually get a little bit worse because what you're doing is you're allowing it to come up and allowing it to pass through. So step two is allow it to be there. Step three, once you allow it to be there, it's going to start to flow. Believe it or not, for me, when it's in my throat, it might actually flow down. It might flow up, whatever the case is. But usually when it flows, what's going to happen is you're going to find that there's another emotion behind the anxiety. And I found that working with over 200 clients is either one of two emotions. It's either repressed anger or repressed sadness. And that was in my case. There was a lot of sadness in it. So what you do is you allow it to be there. So first, become aware of it, then allow it to be there. The third step is allow it to flow, and usually it's going to flow into another emotion, which is either repressed anger or repressed sadness. So you allow that now to be there, whether it be anger or sadness. So you sit there with it. And no, it's probably going to be in the body again. It might be in the head too, but no, most of the time it's either in the chest, stomach, or neck. The last and final step, once you allow it to flow and you allow that to be there, you can start to let it go. Now, how do you let it go? Know that if you just continue to be with it, it's going to release all on its own. And the body naturally knows how to heal itself. This is what hospitals do. This is what hospitals know. A lot of times, if you go to the hospital, unless you're getting a major operation, what do they really do for you? They just put you in a room, they monitor you, They allow you to sleep it off because they know that the body is naturally going to heal itself. Now, with hospitals, unfortunately, if sleep is the biggest cure for a lot of things, I don't like the fact that hospitals have all these beeping machines and they're checking on you every hour, but hospitals know that the body naturally knows how to heal itself. Like if you think about it, if you start bleeding from your knee, you don't have to do anything. Your body naturally knows how to heal itself. The problem with feelings and emotions that we don't like, though, is we don't allow it to be there. We often resist it. We often try to push it to the side. Or even worse, we try to express it. And that might be a video for another time, why I think why you shouldn't express your feelings. Because a lot of people, when they express their feelings, they allow the feeling to take over. And they think that expressing the feeling is actually letting it go when it's not. You're actually making it worse. But that's for another video. So that's the 4-step process, is knowing that first step, if you're becoming anxious, how do you know? Usually it's in the body. Become aware of the body. Step 2, once you become aware of it, allow it to be there, which is the hardest step. It's going to be painful. Understand that pain is the price of freedom. Pain is the price of freedom. So when you go through this pain and you allow it to be there, it's going to suck, but no, it's going to pass on through. And usually it's going to flow into another emotion, whether it be sadness or anger. You allow that to be there. And you sit there with it and know it's happening in the body. There's a lot of tension in the body that you're not aware of. And then the final step, once you allow it to flow, it's eventually going to release all on its own. So that's the 4 simple steps. It's very, very simple. However, very, very difficult to do. It's very simple, but very difficult at the same time. Now, if you're a person who's been suffering with anxiety for a really, really long time, you've been to therapy, you've taken medication, and you don't seem to be getting any better, and you want to know how to master this 4-step process, let me know in the comment section below, because right now I'm working on a program, a 4-week program to totally release your anxiety. And believe it or not, all of these practices is going to take less time than a coffee break. You'll learn to gain total control over your emotions. You'll learn to release anxiety on command. However, it does take about 4 weeks to master. And we're going to be using the body here. We're going to be using stretches, which the stretches are great because you become aware of what's going on with your body. It puts you back in tune. This program that I'm talking about right now, that I'm working on, will help you sleep better, will help you feel more confident, especially socially. It'll teach you how to be your full, authentic self. And you'll really learn how to allow life to just flow. You'll learn to allow life to just be, accept reality for what it is, and move that way. You'll learn to respond to reality as opposed to reacting, because most of us now, as opposed to responding consciously, we're reacting. We're just getting triggered and reacting. So if this is something that you're really, really interested in, if you're really interested in releasing your anxiety for good, allowing your anxiety to just flow, let me know in the comment section below and I'll reach out to you. Hopefully, this is something you're interested in. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I know I just went on a huge rant here. If you also have a friend who's suffering with anxiety, share them this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe now. Peace.